Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Friday night live session at the Norn Way tonight. We welcome you, and we're very excited. After a few weeks, we have yet another exciting and extremely prolific and wonderful person with us. Um, to me, she's a very exciting personality because she is somebody who is in the field of fitness and wellness, both of what our Norn Way team holds very dear, and we are very much vested in ourselves as well. So let's welcome Liz Jones, all the way from London. Hi, Liz. Welcome on the session. How are you tonight? It must be
Hi.
evening.
It's 6 o'clock here, so we're a few hours behind. But yeah, it's still evening. So thank you for having me. And as you said, yeah, years in fitness, over 10 years as a fitness professional, and
Wow.
progressed obviously into the wellness scheme because obviously, as you know, health and well-being is more than just for keeping physically fit. So it obviously goes hand in hand. It affects our lives.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, how long have you been doing this mind and body house? So, can you explain a bit more?
Absolutely. And
You pause there. No worries. Yeah. I mean, my Mind Body House is my recent company I've sort of launched. So my sort of story is I left the army in 2008, and I went, what am I going to do? And all the time sports always been my thing. So I basically moved into fitness, became a personal trainer, went into manager, and even progressed to become a gym manager, so general manager in my own club and everything like this. And just like something's missing. So I just quit my job, basically went on my own just nearly 2 years ago now. And so I started off going, I've got this idea of what I want to do. I'm not quite sure how it's going to turn out. And that's where I was doing some personal training, some classes, some coaching, and just trying to put it all together. And then, of course, lockdown, in its beautiful blessing, has given us a chance to obviously think outside the box, new things. And I just developed the Mind Body House. So it's a perfect online studio for online classes, group exercise sort of based, personal training, personal coaches. And I've got other coaches and consultants I'm liaising with who are going to be coming joining the team as well. So obviously building up so that we can offer the full range of health and well-being. So yeah.
that's amazing. And I love the name Mind and Body House. So tell me, like, when you came up with this name, like, did you have any kind of, what was the thought process behind that? Like, how did you? Because I know and I believe that, of course, like, if you're into fitness, it really is. It starts from the mind, right? But
Yeah.
since you're a wellness and fitness coach,
Yeah.
so tell us about it. How does the mind and body work like that?
Okay, so the name is actually came from something completely different. Basically, at the start of lockdown, to help people keep connected and for the mental well-being, I set up what I call a coffee break every Thursday. So just a free sort of networking. It's kind of just like this: just get together, have a chat, play some games, do some quizzes, have some fun. Um, and of course, I set that up, and of course, that was like everyone loves it. I've been told I can't stop it. It's great. And I was just like, okay, how can I develop this? Is there
Yeah.
anything here? And I was like, you think coffee house, mine, and that's how it came together because thinking about the mental well-being, emotions, physical well-being, and actually, as soon as I just went, what's this? And everyone I've told, they've gone, I like it. It really works. So the all-encompassing house where it obviously sits underneath, so it kind of works really, really well. But that's where it came from. Is a coffee break.
That's mind and body house. Like, it's really like, it has that energy to it, that kind of buzz. It's kind of like two buzzwords together, like mind and body house. So, you're a fitness and wellness coach, and I was going through your profile, and kudos to you. You've been on this platform for the last 10 years, and you've got a massive LinkedIn following. I believe you're not on Facebook or Instagram, so if anybody has to follow you, they should connect with you on LinkedIn. Is that right?
I am on Instagram, but I use it ad hocly. So I've got a profile.
Okay, I didn't know that. So then, just for our viewers, they can follow you on Instagram. And what is your Instagram page? Can you just tell us about that?
It's Well, I mean, my page is Liz_Mind Body House. So I'm trying to bring my brand over because, that's kind of what I do, and it gets kind of messy when you try and put it all personal. But I don't move away because I'm still my brand. I'm still the person who founded it. I'm still leading it. And, that's why I'm still, I'm not doing just the site. It's me.
Right. Yeah, and you have you have one massive following and a big impact on LinkedIn, and you have so many followers. And I've read testimonials by your clients, and people have said that you really turn people's lives around and all of that. So tell me, as a coach, what does wellness mean to you? Like, what would you say wellness is about? How would you define it to somebody who's listening to you?
Oh, good question on that one. See, wellness to me is a lifestyle. It's not just a quick fix. It's not just feeling happy. It's completely feeling centered, grounded, feeling confident. It's not about being, super skinny or super strong, or it's about being the best you. And your well-being, your wellness is how you feel about yourself. So you could have the worst job in the world, but with a loving family and everything you need, as long as you're happy and everything's fulfilled, you've got wellness, you've got complete wellness. And that's one thing I don't want to distract for when people say, how much weight do we lose? I'm like, well, what does it mean to you? Because everybody's personal.
Yep.
Oh,
that is
very nice.
So true.
Very profound. I have one question for you, Liz. That how do you said when in our call that fitness is more than just exercise. Can you elaborate on that? So how it is related to wellness and how it improves your relationships and how it improves a mindset. So can you elaborate?
Of course. I mean, fitness on its own, people just think as fitness as let's just do the workout. Very often that's what it is. However, so we've got the physical. So we talk about the three elements. We've got the physical element. So it's the looking after injuries, your heart, your internal organs, your weight management, all the sort of physical aspects of what it could be. And, that's obviously what you get out of doing a workout. Then you've got the mental, so the sort of stress relief, the calming of the mind, the releasing of sort of built up tensions. If you've had a crappy day at work and, things underneath, you just want to sort of de-stress and sort of calm down, maybe feeling a bit angry. It can be a way to use that energy in a safe, productive manner. So you can go home and not take it out on a loved one.
Yes.
Which is a big thing. And I mean, there's actually on that, there's a huge connection with combat sports and domestic violence. And
that's new. That's new. I
have actually come across that, and later on, once you finish with this, do tell us what that correlation is like. How is that a correlation?
So we'll hold that thought for a second. And the last part of it is the emotional, because we've all have feelings, like I was touched on there, the anger. So when you are feeling a little stressed, angry, upset, sad, a workout can make you feel good. You have endorphins, the hormone releases, as well as de-stress. And then you've got the physical of, I feel good about myself. So you automatically feel more confident. You feel great when you get dressed and go out. So it's the whole package that you get. So this is where fitness being the whole package is people, where's my phone? Like they do this in the treadmill and you're like, you're not actually investing in that moment.
Exactly.
And that's really what sort of the problems go, because you take your problems into your workout and then you take them home with you, rather than, this is obviously why I've obviously done, I do yoga and things as well, is that mindfulness, that being present in the situation, and then you can really focus on it. So if you're doing work, you focus on that. If you're in a live event, you're in the live event. If you're in a meeting, you're in that meeting. Everything's place. You can't do everything at once.
Yeah, you're more focused. You're more focused.
I try to be.
That's a very good point that you raised, and that is what this new age concept about. You hear a lot of great books that have been written. You hear about in podcasts. You have fitness coaches and wellness coaches talk about that. And, it's very important to kind of disconnect from your external environment and kind of just stay in the moment and focus. And it's like in wellness, that is a key element, because in spirituality or meditation, or even if it's like you're working out. And I know that from an experience that you just said that, even if you had a really stressful, sort of angsty, angry day, the minute you hit the gym, and if you actually take it as an opportunity to de-stress, you actually end up feeling good. Like if you're just kind of, on your mobile and on the treadmill, and if you're not really kind of vested in de-stressing, then it doesn't work. It's like a net negative kind of, you don't benefit. So on your profile, I was going through your specialties, and there was a list of specialties that you mentioned, and I'd like to ask you, not obviously there were a couple of them, I'd like to ask about two of them that were interesting to me. The first one were healthy habits, fitness training, self-confidence, life balance, emotional well-being, stress management. Now, the two that I kind of, invest and I want to research about, and I'm very interested in, is self and body confidence, and then emotional well-being. So would you just like elaborate and shed some light on what do these mean to you?
Okay, well, the first one, I'll give you an example, because you probably relate to it more. So I had a lady come to me and say, I want to lose weight. And I went, okay, gave her all the details of what I was doing at the time. Here's, this, prices. Let me know when you start. Okay, I'll let you know. 3 months later, comes back, I'm sorry I've not been in touch. This has gone on. I was like, okay. Let me know when you want to start. You've got the information. It's still going. You're welcome. And then again, I think it must have been about 6 months. It's near enough, like 6 to 9 months overall. Comes back to me and they said, yeah, I'm definitely going to start. And I went, no, you're not. She went, yes, I am. I went, no, you're not. She's like, why not? And I went, because you like being overweight. You like being overweight because when you have a bad day, you can blame having a bad day. Because if you were going to start that first conversation, we would have started. And that is sort of about the body and self-confidence side of things, because people go, I want to lose weight, or they like having the excuse or like having the reason. However, how many people can stand there in the underwear and look in the mirror and go, yeah.
Yes. I always like to think of Victoria's Secret models, like they're the only ones who can just walk out there in their underwear and the wings. But like, is there anybody else who can do that?
Yeah, I get all my clients to do that.
Yeah, so that's what you mean by self-confidence, right? Body and self.
Yeah, because self-confidence is belief in yourself and belief in what you can do, and that comes from saying, if you're standing on the stage, you could have the designer dress on, you can look absolutely pristine, but if you've got no confidence in other than the exterior, it's going to shine through. So it all starts with you in your underwear, you in that raw state. And that obviously relates to your partner. People, without being too crude, people don't have sex with the light on because when they don't believe in themselves, they think, I'm ashamed of it. Let's keep the light on. It's like, okay, that's preference, fine. But they do it to hide. And that's where you sit there going, particularly people in marriages and long term, you go, one second, if you can't stand in your underwear and your partner walk in and you not grab your bathrobe to put on, or big baggy t-shirt or something, then you need to start looking at it. It's not the weight that's the issue, it's how you feel about it, and that's masking something else. So that could be masking a fear of what it will give you to look. If you do look like a model, the attention you get when you walk down the street when you look great, people don't. It can be uncomfortable, and if you don't like that, that can put you off. You can put these fears in your head. So yeah, that's that sort of element, which obviously affects all of us. And people getting on camera, that's the big one now. I know some people who will not get on camera.
Right, exactly. They're shy. And I guess when you say that, there's an element of shame associated with your body image, right? And it's conditions, and it's like notions and preconceptions and things maybe you've been told or communicated. And now we have obviously the internet and the social media and the filters. So it's not it's not really helping the cause much. And I guess being a fitness coach, it's instrumental, I'm sure, in your work to create that self-confidence. So, like, for example, if you have somebody like that, right, who's that shy or who associates a sense of shame with their body, how do you go about it? How do you break that? I mean, how do you work with them?
Well, first thing is you need to find out why, why it's there. And generally people that come will say, like, for example, I took that lady who said, oh yeah, it's this. The minute she had that aha moment of going, yeah, that is why, then you can automatically go, okay, why have you got that? What's stopping you? So if it's, for example, because I'm so worried about all this going wrong, I'm worried because when things start going right, or particularly they've been victims of some bullying or abuse, they go, if people look good, it'll happen again, or they'll find success, and it's kind of it can be quite fear driven, and so generally what it can be a very emotional phone call. Then it starts off with they hate my challenges of standing in front of the mirror and complimenting themselves. So literally every single day, so simple, and going, my hair looks good today.
Yeah.
You're smiling and smiling at yourself, and then building each day that sort of confidence in it. And, initially I say, if you really can't do your underwear, wear a long t-shirt or something, and then day 2 do your underwear. But you can't not face it. If you don't face it, you can't change it.
Yes, that's so true.
And
Absolutely.
So it is like mind change, a mindset change, right? I mean, even if you begin with fitness, you have to really change the mindset, right? What is it in driving force in your mind, or what is the stopping force in your mind? Why is it that you're shy, or why is it that you want to achieve something? And then comes the emotional well-being. So do talk about that as well. How is it that, I mean, I personally have experienced, even if, and then there was stress management as well. And I'd like to correlate the two of them, emotional well-being and stress management. So for example, somebody who's a high performing athlete, right? Or somebody who's a high performing corporate banker, or, some, I don't know, executive board director, or somebody who's a professor who works around the clock, anybody, right? And then they just struggle to find the time, right? You see, like, they really want to invest in themselves, and they want that time for themselves, but their hours are so kind of burning and cramped that they kind of deprioritize this. So when these people come to you for help, how do you deal with them? Because then there's obviously resistance, right? There's time issues and all of that, and then you have to take that pressure off. So how do you deal with that? So stress management and emotional well-being.
Well, that's the thing. The time thing is a completely different element, because, like, one of my latest ladies said to me, I'm restricted on time. So I went, no problem. We can do half-hour workouts. I'll give you little plans so you can do, And I said to start with, I want you to just do 3 a week. That's it. And one of them with me, 2 are without. So you're just doing 3 a week. We've just started week 3. And she's literally only had 3 rest days because she's so addicted. The first week was where she was, going, I've got to do this. And she went, I only did 1 set. I did 1 set. I just did. And I was like, that's fine. You did nothing the week before. You're doing something. So when we start looking at someone with a time issue, it's important to make sure we don't suddenly say, right, here you go. You have to give me this much, because automatically you'll get the shutdown. So I do it in the small snippets. So what we're going to do is take 15 minutes of your time every day for 5 days. That's all you're going to give me. Next week, we're going to put 20. So we build it up. And then, of course, people will start to see the importance of it and go, I think her comment to me, like I said, that client, her comment to me on 3 weeks, she's basically turned around to me and gone, I've suddenly got time for it because it's now important and I enjoy it. And I'm like, that's exactly what you should be. And she's going to go, I want more workouts. I'm doing both workouts together now.
Yeah.
I've now got time for it. So herself, she created this time.
Yeah.
And
so it's just like prioritizing. And once you kind of get into it, you break through that sort of resistance, then you, so I mean, I think that for people who are watching this, and for a lot of us who are struggling with timings, and like you said, I'm sure the excuses that I've always used are, oh, I don't have the time, or oh, I've been so busy, or I haven't been feeling like myself. But I've always found that, it's that first push, like pushing yourself. Once you're in there and then you start enjoying it, and then you yourself start taking steps towards it.
Breaking the inertia.
Yeah.
It's just like taking baby steps towards your best self.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you try and do a big step, if you go to the work at a gym and you go, okay, I'm going to do a body pump class, then I'm going to do a cycle class today, and you do 2 hours, you go home, you ache, you hurt, you can't move for 4 days, and you're just like, that was so much time, and I've now suffered and struggled for 4 days. You're not going to go back. That's it. You've not done something, you're not going to go back. They're fantastic classes, but you're not doing them, because, so you're better off doing a little bit, and then you're going, hang on, I want some more. And this is why I developed over lockdown. I did a small 14-day challenge. So it's actually available on my LinkedIn. And it's basically, you're not doing anything. In 14 days, you're doing something.
Yeah.
So it's literally, okay, so just going for a short walk or a couple of exercises. So it's like 10, I think the longest one is 40 minutes out the whole 14 days. And it's just trying to get you to change your behaviors. So this is the habits part, because our habits are what we go back to. It's our comfortable behaviors. And that's what we'll automatically react with. So when we're stuck in an emotional situation, this is why they all interconnect really well. If we're stuck with an emotion, so for example, if you get a text message from your boss saying, you have to do this by tomorrow, automatically, if your emotions are sort of high, your massive response is, oh my God, I'm so stressed, oh my God. And the stress level goes up. So you're automatically going this. And of course, then you may show the physical attributes. So, but if you're feeling a bit more emotional, you just go, geez, okay, an hour now, and then I can sit down and have a glass of wine. I'll give myself a glass of wine later because I was going to have it now, but I'll have it once I've done this. And you sort of have a bit more of a annoyance, but you have that focus and you use it to go, let's get it done. Let's not be doing this all night, And in fact, my boss is fair. So when I speak to him, I can actually get my time back. So you can go with a much more engaged approach rather than just having this emotional stress that will just then ruin your concentration. Probably mean you won't sleep very well that night either. Then you'll be worried the next day that your boss has done this to you and it carries on because you don't leave it. And that's what we've said about emotional well-being and reactions. So,
Absolutely.
That's a take-home message. That's a take-home message for me. Like take-home message for this podcast.
Because, quite too often we would suffer from that. So, But Hamza, you had a question, so go ahead.
Yeah, I've had a question that I've been thinking of all day since I was very excited about tonight. And it's so lovely to have you here and talk about everything that we can all relate to. So my students were questioning me on everything, how do you get motivated and how you do stay energetic, because they feel that I am so. And I'm glad that they do. But here's my question, given that they're very young. My one advice to them was to, start on a fitness journey earlier on. But here's the question. Liz, what do you think is the earliest somebody should embark on a fitness journey?
Yes, that's a great question.
I was a child when I started mine, so I wouldn't even judge. But the thing is, even as children, sport and exercise is great for your cognitive skills. So your coordination, your memory, your teamwork. So all your skills that you learn as a child from interacting, you learn through sport. And actually helps you sort of grow and obviously care for your body as well. So it can actually help your body grow if you do the right sort of exercise. So if you start weight training at 12, your bones aren't developed, it's not very good for you. Yeah. But if you're doing, for example, you play football, hockey, team sports, you're mixing with other people. You're keeping the body physically going. You're obviously building all those skills that you're still learning, because realistically, we're adolescents, we're up to 24 years old. So our body is still moving, and that's on all levels. So even our professional skills, if you think about it, if you play sport as a team, you learn how to show respect to another team. When you go to the office, you might not like your colleague, but you learn respect.
Absolutely.
So it's transferable skills that you have. So there's never an age to start. Just go into the right activities, do something that, you know, you enjoy, because fun is always what's going to keep you going. If something becomes a little boring, change it. There's, you know, like if you played tennis and you suddenly got bored and it was wet, start playing squash. If you like racket sports, you know, there's other options. And that's why having a team or a friend who's with you, because you motivate each other. So if you're having a bad day, you can go, okay, we're going to do this hour workout. And no, so we were going to work out, and you said, go and do it. And I'm like, I don't feel like it. If you just said, okay, let's still go, but we'll just do half an hour instead, you can sort of encourage me. But again, and then we'll say, we'll do half an hour and see how we feel. So even if we just did half an hour, I've now done half an hour when I would have stayed at home, and you still got a good workout in. So you can kind of get teamwork to motivate. So that's another good option, particularly as you're growing, you know, it's kind of use your friends.
That's so true. Team spirit. Yes. And since you mentioned, you know, friends, and so I was wondering about group classes and one-on-one training. So is there like a sort of a criteria that you would push for a certain person? Maybe beginners. What would you recommend a beginner who's getting into fitness and, you know, training, to be more specific? Group classes and personal training. Like, is there a difference, or is it just something that's optional?
I mean, there is a difference, you know, because if it's, say, for example, if we were all, I was coaching all of you three together, obviously I'm going to be watching and correcting three of you. So you have split focus. So if you go into a group class, it's much more of we're doing a warm up, we're doing a pulse raiser, you know, you have a structure and we're going to follow that. So if you're, for example, doing a squat and it's not quite right, I'll give you a few tips, but we're not really going to correct it. However, if you're in personal training, if it's not right, we're going to pull it apart, we're going to build it up, and we're going to take the time to progress that so that you're completely safe and effective. So there is, I mean, beginners can do both. That's what some people feel they can't. And in every single one I teach, if you're a beginner and you think, I can't afford personal training, can I do group exercise? Yes. But just send me a message beforehand. That way I know, or, you know, even when you jump in, like, hi, yeah, first time, no problem. You know?
Yeah. You know, I find a lot of people, like friends of mine, you know, when we talk about it. So when I started training, I remember I started with group classes and because I enjoyed them so much. And that's how I got into, like, you know, enjoying exercise. And then I went on to personal training. I do have friends who quite often ask me, they go like, should we do group? Should we do personal? What should we do? And I'm not, you know, sort of an expert. Yeah. So that's a question that usually comes up. And the advice that I quite often give them, I'm like, well, you know, group worked for me in the beginning, so maybe you should go for group. I don't know. But like you're saying, it's really not a criteria. Like you can do either.
You can do either. I mean, both of them create the accountability because you're booked. The classes does have the disadvantages because you're in a group setting, so you might lose some of that personal attention. However, you've also got the social support. So, for example, my classes online, they will go, is so-and-so coming today? Oh, how are you doing? You know, and they will have like a few minutes of saying hi to each other. And someone's new and they're like, oh, are you on Instagram? Are you on Facebook? You know, and they're all checking.
It's more like socializing. It's more like socializing then.
It's very motivational having a group, you know.
That added work to it because one of my loveliest friends that I have, I found them in my group classes, you know. Yeah. So that's why whenever somebody asks me, and if they're a beginner and they just come to me and, you know, we just talk and they're like, okay, what should I? And I always say, go for a group class because, you know, it kind of adds that fun element and it kind of drives you. You might get bored in a one-on-one session right away. I mean, that's what I think, but of course, you're the expert. So that was a question that I wanted to ask you and you answered it. So coming back to your, you know, earlier on you mentioned that you have a diverse range of skills and services that you offer, and you're not just a specific kind of trainer. So I'd like you to delve more into that. Like exactly what are all the skill sets and all the services? Like I know that you do yoga, I know you do antenatal yoga, and you're into Pilates as well, I believe. So please do kind of talk about skill set and, you know, what all you're doing right now with mind and body.
Let's list all my qualifications near enough. No,
yes, you've got so much diversity.
We're happy to know more about it.
Yeah, but everything you're doing, like one person doing all these things and all these, she has so many skills. So do boast about it here.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was the thing, because when I was a PT, I've got this thing which I've actually found out in the last 4 years. I'm dyslexic, and which
Really?
it explains that,
Oh,
a hell of a lot about my kind of the way I learn and my, how my mind works. But when I became a PT, and I was like, okay. Then the company I worked for wanted to sort of become level 4 trainers eventually. So I started on this journey. I was like, okay, let's upskill, did my exercise referral, things. But because I basically obviously had injuries, from twisting my knees when I was 10 and all this, I did my massage courses as well. So I'm actually a Swedish sports, bamboo and Ariada
yes.
massage qualified.
Wow.
Wow.
I love the Swedish massage. It's so good.
So yeah, I mean, I did it all because I went, well, if I get injured and I can't use my knee, I can at least still keep doing massage. So it broadens my skills. So I was like, I'm constantly thinking of this. I can do this. So let's give myself something else in case I can't do that. So I was always giving myself the backup plan. And
Absolutely.
in doing that, it was great because I broadened my skills. But I was never really focusing on doing one thing really, really well. And the one thing that I ended up getting put into management and senior positions. And I was like, obviously, ex-army officer, trained at Sandhurst. I was like, okay, so there's a reason I went there, and that's why I brought it into running the house, because obviously I love doing one-on-ones. I love doing the changing people's lifestyles, and whether it's one person, they bring their partner, it turns into a family event. It kind of all works. I do love group exercise because I can teach a full range, and I can teach a wide range of different, like HIIT, core, yoga, conditioning classes, indoor cycle. So they're the main ones I teach now. But that again means I can again teach a wider range of people who just want to come, enjoy my class, and go home. The coaching comes in because I'm actually a life coach and business coach. So I've actually done those. I'm also
Right.
a qualified assessor, so I can actually deliver the courses I'm qualified in.
Right. Great.
And of course, over the years, I've trained and developed several apprentices and, built them up to become personal trainers. So this is the one thing I was like, well, hence the Mind Body House. I was like, well, let's bring it in because I do want to be doing all this. However, it's a case of I also want to allow new instructors to have a chance to grow, to have, and it's not about big numbers. It's not, it's all about quality, doing what you do and loving what you do. So even
Yes.
from the people I want to be working with, that's what they do. They just sort of love what they do, and they offer something maybe slightly different. So you've got a slightly different background or slightly different style of yoga, or we're offering a free child yoga next week.
That's new. That's new for Pakistani population,
Yeah.
like child yoga or something like that.
Well, we've got a
So
free.
how does yoga benefit children? Like, what are the benefits of yoga, introducing yoga to children? Given that, kids are locked up at home and they're not getting to go out much, and, their extracurriculars, games
Yeah.
outdoors are limited.
Yeah, with all that flexibility that they have in them.
Yes,
Yeah.
so all the more need to incorporate, like, some kind of balance there in their lives. And I do feel that yoga is amazing. But like, as a wellness and fitness coach, like, do tell me about the benefits that children could have.
Well, I mean, the big one right now is we all know there's all sorts going on. And we've got, like, for example, if we feel emotional, we can pick up the phone and we've got a way, we know how to express our emotions or a little bit.
Yes.
Children don't. They haven't sort of learned that. And we're actually seeing in the UK, because I've got a few people I know who are teachers, and they're seeing years 4 and 5, very little difference after lockdown. Years 5 and 6 are more like a 4 and 5. The learning is going backwards slightly. So the importance of yoga is to bring it all together, so they've got a safe place to release the energy, to actually use the body and burn up what they physically, need, as well as sort of that mental and emotional de-stress, because it's a safe place for them to outlay, rather than them sort of building up and you see ovaries or something. It's trying to bring it all together so they can find that calmness and actually enjoy something.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and I mean it's very calming, and given in this time, especially if you have young children cooped up at home with parents, and they've got their like work from home routines, and kids have their own online schooling. I mean, it is important to focus like on the children and their wellness and their physical and emotional wellness. And I guess like it's important for parents to be aware of that as well.
yeah.
So yes. So what other things do you do? So you mentioned you're doing yoga, Pilates. I mean, you mentioned that you even you deal with injuries, right? Like if some
Yeah, because I'm exercise referral qualified.
Wow.
One of the things I was like, okay, that should be my specialist field, So I do a lot of my clients who come to me that injuries or I've got an
Yeah.
80-year-old, is kind of I have all ages, and
Yeah.
I also volunteer with Age UK, which is a charity who do obviously for sort of pensioners, people that are at home, they need to keep fit. And I volunteer with them and I teach a chair exercise class. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's my favourite thing to do.
Chair exercise class.
Yeah, chair exercise.
Cool. So tell me about it. Like, how do you do it? Like, so you sit on chairs?
So, I mean, this basically a lot of it is. I mean, some of it we do a bit standing because they're not completely enabled, but there's always a seated option. And then we sit down, we do some upper body work, and so basically they couldn't do a whole class sort of on their feet or things like that. They'd either get tired or unsteady, and and of course a lot of it, as we get older, we need to keep the muscles not working because we need to prevent like osteoporosis. Little things like opening a jar. That becomes hard because they're getting the grip and, keeping the muscles working, keeping able to walk. One of the guys, before lockdown, I used to volunteer to exercise at home. And I had a 90-year-old who's absolutely phenomenal. But he was pretty much stuck in his flat unless he had somebody to come and help him out.
Yeah.
And, so of course he had a nice big flat and we did his exercises, in but many of them can get like that. They can get stuck in the home. So to enable them to be able to, if they get to go to the shop, they can walk there. To enable this, just if they've got stairs in the house, so they can get upstairs. They don't feel trapped. And it's just prolonged the enjoyment of life. So
so get them sort of one step ahead of where they are, like the place they are
Related
stuck.
to this, I just want to add related to this. One of our viewers asked a question related to this topic. That his name is Mustafa, and he says that if one wants to start their fitness journey in life, say like 40s or 50s and so on, so how should one go about it? So I think the chair thing is good for them.
chair exercise is good, yeah. I mean, generally you want to do, obviously, I don't know any medical conditions and things like that to be think. Little things like just taking 10 minutes, even just walk around the block. If you're not getting out and you're basically, if you say your average days, you're not doing anything, just adding in a 10-minute walk around the block. And then for, say, a couple of days, then extend that to 15 minutes, make it a bit longer. Then you can do, I mean, like I said, I did say about my 14-day exercise thing because it's got some gentle exercises. But there are things you can do like squats to a chair. So literally sitting down and standing up. Gets all the legs working, gets you working. I will be adding a class on at some point, which will be open to everybody to obviously help people get through. And I will be putting some videos. It is always making that time, because if you want to get started, give yourself, say, right, I'm going to do 20 minutes every day. So the recommended guidelines is 21 minutes a day to stay healthy. That's 150 minutes a week. So if you're not active, it's easier to do 21 minutes than it is to do an hour 3 times.
What is the definition of being active? Like, it's just like taking a walk or doing a yoga for 20 minutes or doing some kind of motion?
That 150 minutes is where your heart rate is increased above resting for the time. So if you clean your house very briskly, so you're with a hoover and you're rushing around, as long as your heart rate's increased and you're getting a bit hot, that still counts.
That definitely happens when you're like vacuuming the house.
Yeah.
So, do it really well and really get work out. And it's fantastic. And
Yeah, that's a workout. When you're at home, like in the middle of a pandemic, just like start with
Start cleaning.
yeah.
And then,
So 21 minutes where your heart rate increased above resting. So that doesn't mean to say it's as high so you can feel it and you're out of breath. It just means so you feel yourself getting a bit warm and, like you say. So if you were trying to walk and talk, after a while you start to go, just give me a sec, you start to not be able to talk fluidly, if that makes sense. So if you're able to just like chat, you're walking too slow, walk a little quicker. Yeah. So it doesn't need to have to be a run, it just needs so you're out of breath slightly. And that's the recommended guidelines for healthy.
Right. I have another question though. I mean, this will be my one other question, I would say. Most of our viewers and a lot of people who follow us are entering their prime or in their prime in their 30s or on their way towards 30s. So what's the one wellness and fitness advice you would give to somebody moving around that age group where one does get to need to, monitor their fitness and wellness a little more?
Stay active. As you get, seriously, the body's amazing, but as you hit 30, your body technically you go on this uphill, and you start to die without being, you rejuvenate slower, your cells do. It's kind of, say you start to die, it sounds really morbid, but it gets harder. So, and then of course, as you hit 40, it gets harder still. As you get 50, it gets harder. So the later on you leave it, the harder it gets.
Absolutely.
To maintain and do a little every day than it is to do this peaks and troughs. It's like yo-yo dieting. Every time you go on a diet, you've probably seen the yo-yo. You go on a diet, you're getting weight, so you go on a diet, lose weight. So you put on more weight, so you get out.
Yo-yo dieting.
But you're going up every time. So your exercise is the same. You find it hard if you stop exercising. You're 30, you stop exercising. At 35, you try to exercise. You might lose some of the weight. You stop exercising. You try at 45. It's even harder. So your best thing to do is just stay, whether it is walking, whether it is going to the gym, whether it is a class, find something you enjoy and keep going, because your health when you're 80 is affected what you do now, not when you're 70. It's now.
Absolutely.
yes, exactly. We're preparing for the late range.
Oh,
yes,
sorry.
Misha, go on.
No,
Sorry,
sorry. I was just writing a comment. So I was just like we are preparing for the later range.
Youth, and you mentioned that youth is sort of measured between being 13 and what was it? You define how it's like in the teens basically, right? You're considered 13 to 20 or 20, something like that. And then you talked about, what did you say? Please talk about that again, because that was a very interesting talk. You talked about staying youthful, and you were it was a motivational talk about how you can maintain and sustain your youth, and it's not just about the age. Basically, that's what you were saying.
Yeah, because obviously we technically go, you say, oh, those youths, and you're meaning someone, in your head you're thinking someone 18, 17, you've got an idea, and you're referring to what you say in adolescence, but your youth is how you feel. To be youthful is your energy. So there's nothing saying that, because this is where we get confused with biological and chronical age, because everyone goes, oh, I'm old because I'm 50, or I'm old when I'm 30, however, your one age is the number of years you're alive. Okay, so that's, you can't change that. However, you can, by your lifestyle, affect the way you look, so your skin, your energy, your, everything about you, by maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And that's where you maintain your youth. So you can keep that. There's nothing saying that you can't feel like a 20-year-old when you're 50, because you can.
Agreed. Absolutely. And it was a really, really cool talk that you gave. So tell me, you talked about healthy lifestyle just now. What is a healthy lifestyle? If you were to if I came to you as a client and I said, well, what is a healthy lifestyle? What is the optimal healthy lifestyle?
Well, if you came to me and asked me, I'll be starting to ask you a few questions of what you deem as healthy, what you sort of deem unhealthy, because the first thing, people's perceptions is very different. So I had somebody come to me who said, I live quite healthy, but I have 2 beers every night. I'm like, that's not healthy. And then I had someone else, yeah, but I have only vodka and slimline tonic. I'm like, yeah, but you're still drinking 3 or 4 nights a week, you know.
What is Liz Jones like healthy lifestyle? Like, if I was to ask you, what is your, like, in your view, like, what do you define as a healthy lifestyle?
A healthy lifestyle is a balanced lifestyle, so you don't feel restricted. You know, I eat chocolate, I drink alcohol. I'm not gonna say I don't eat pizza. You know, it's not like you feel restricted. It's about things in moderation and the right amount of what your body needs. So doing exercise so you get the results that make you feel good, and doing it when it suits you, but also eating so your body feels energized, and eating enough, because if you eat too little, you don't have energy. Having the right sleep. So an adult says 7 to 9 hours sleep. I survive best on 7. If I have 9, I feel awful. You know, it's fitting in with so your body is working its optimum.
If I get 9, I feel wonderful.
See?
It's like I'm the opposite. If I got 9, I would be like on top of the world.
And that's what we say about everybody is slightly different, because how your body responds is completely different, and it's also like what you eat. Some people, there's 3 general body types, but we're always a mix of 2. So we're endomorph, ectomorph, or mesomorph. So whether we build muscle, we're naturally slim, we're naturally bigger. And depending on what your body type is, your exercise is different. So I build muscle very easily. So I can go in and do 30, 40-minute workouts, and I can maintain a quite good shape, but I have to do some cardio with it. You know, I can't just stay thin. If I didn't exercise, I get fat. I'm not going to lie. I get fat. I put on weight. Really. But there's
Who doesn't? That is like, I think what you mentioned about the youth, I think it's true that you can stay skinny in your teens without exercising. I would agree with that. But like beyond, in your 30s, like after 25, there's just no way, unless you're starving yourself, that you can stay in good shape. And in good shape actually means that you exercise and you have, and I do want you to kind of talk about that and make people aware that it's not just about body image, but it is also muscle building, right? Strengthening your body. Like how what's that in your wellness as you age? Do talk about that, the impact it has on our bones, the prognosis and progression of osteoporosis, things like arthritis, if you've got genetic tendencies. How does that help?
Yeah.
Muscular.
I mean, if you say physically, let's talk about, like, for example, if you do weight training, it helps with bone density, conditioning ligaments, tendons. And so what most, I say, women, I'm sorry to say, I'm going to get big if I lift weights. I'm going to look like a man.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Naturally, women do not have as much muscle mass as a man. Our genetic buildup is the same.
Absolutely.
We also do not have enough, the same amount of testosterone. We have less. So although training increases it, you do not naturally have the same amount. So therefore, when you see these women who are naturally big, it's either their genetic buildup or they've been supplementing the actives, the steroids. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where we sort of go into sort of, like I said, genetics. Someone asked me today, it's like, will I get calves like that person? Because I was like, look, I said, they're short, this is how their muscles. Oh, right, that makes sense. So I'm not going to worry about that. I was like, no, you will not get the same results as that person. You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot. And as we get older, things like our cardiorespiratory system, like you might notice your hands get cold. Okay.
Yes.
Because your blood flow. So if you're active, you may notice your body will stay warmer because your blood's flowing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Then, like I said, as we get older, obviously, like I said, all those sort of medical conditions, we get diabetes, all this. You help control high blood pressure. I've had clients exercise with me who have high blood pressure on medication.
Yeah.
Never thought it would be normal. Exercise with me once a week in a couple of walks, and the on medication, it has to be medicated. They came down to a normal, healthy heartbeat.
Wow.
So, and that's literally just by training once a week in the gym, doing some right exercises and a couple of walks. And even on medication, they had high heart rate. That's how high it was. So that's the world of difference. It's your heart. You've got one heart. If it stops, it stops.
And it's amazing, how a lot of women want to associate being
Yes.
skinny with fitness, and
Yeah.
you don't realize that women, some of them, a lot of them choose to give birth, and that puts their body through so much. With the right kind of weight training and strength training, that process in itself is just a lot more easier on their bodies, and it's a huge realization. What would you say about that?
Okay, with the pregnancy thing as a whole, if you're healthy and well, so I work alongside a fertility clinic, so I'm liaising with them as well. So this is a big sort of topic. Firstly, there's the body is much more likely to get pregnant if it's healthy. It provides a much more healthy environment. When you are pregnant, it makes not only the pregnancy easier, but it makes it obviously healthier for the baby. So there's less risk and complications. Or in pregnancy, or birth, sorry, birth is easier. So, your muscles are much stronger, you're much able, for example, if you work your pelvic floor, you can support the baby better, and obviously giving birth becomes easier. Your recovery is easier and quicker. So when people say, I'm never going to get my body back, it's like, actually, you have to train the right way to come out of it, but you can, the abdominals are always questionable because they split, or if you have a C-section and then cut. So there's never a blanket option, but the whole process becomes much healthier and much easier. And it's not.
Yes, and it's a huge misperception amongst a lot of people, and especially I think in the Asian side, that if you're pregnant, I know that when I was pregnant with my first one, I was told to, oh my God, you need to rest. You can't walk. You can't go up the stairs. Oh my God, like the first 3 months. And there was such a scare and such a stigmatization towards physical activity. I remember like my first pregnancy actually being quite difficult. And subsequently, the next one was because I then researched into it and I realized, no, actually, physical exercise, walking, all of the exact opposite of what I was told by, my elders and, those midwifery kind of pre-notions, they're all wrong and they didn't help. So that is so true that, and I'm glad that Hafsa brought it up because this is a misconception and it is vastly prevalent here in our side of the world. And if a woman becomes pregnant, especially for the first time, I mean, I guess as a doctor, I could say that yes, first 3 months, if you've become pregnant for the first time, you take it easy. But if you're well and everything is good with you, then exercise and some kind of activity actually helps strengthen your body. So that is, I think you just mentioned that's a great point.
Even your menstrual health, I feel like, how people associate, just rest and go. I've always noticed when you keep yourself very active is when you'll have a very healthy period.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you must have done that with your clients.
Is much better.
Exactly, and I've started practicing this in my menstrual period time. So I've started yoga during that time. Previously, I was not doing on those days because it was like a myth among girls that if you do it, something will happen. So I was like, why will something will happen? I tried doing that, and I was like more not into that sad state when you are like, oh, now you are having that, you're having that mood swings or something like that. So after doing yoga, I'm more composed or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a couple of asanas that you shouldn't do when you're sort of at that time of the month or things like this. Like when you're being pregnant, it's like you shouldn't do anything new. You shouldn't shock your body. You should do some. So if you're used to being active, walking, you wait, keep going. If you're used to doing yoga, keep going. If a friend of mine used to run like marathons, so she kept running to 8.5 months with the baby bump. Absolutely no problem. Healthy pregnancy, healthy baby. All perfect. It's amazing. But with your menstrual cycle, obviously stomach cramps and your comfort and all that sort of bloating thing, your body can cope better.
Yeah.
Just makes you feel
Yeah, and
so
I
much.
think it's important to listen to your body as well, because our body does talk to us. Like, if you're in, like you said, like listen to your body and don't kind of push
Yeah,
past the limits. Like if you're having bad backache or something like that, just give it a rest.
yeah.
But do tell me about how important is it to, so there was a question that just came up.
Yeah.
Is there like, is there anything as like saying, oh, it's too late to now start weight training?
I mean, with training, it's always the sooner you start and build those foundations, obviously the lifelong progress you make. However, if you're starting at 60 years old, 65, and you want to make the difference, great, do it. But obviously, don't suddenly just go in and lift the tens because you think you can. Start off at
Yeah.
light bands, use body weight, start to build the body up first. So always, again, it's that be kind to yourself, listen to your body, but don't just
Yes.
think, oh, I did this 10 years ago, I can do the same. Your body's
Mhm.
changed. Build yourself on day one. I mean, someone asked me today, it's like, I've had loads of questions today. What weights do I lift? And I said, well, if I do a leg press, I can do 200 kilograms, which is twice, that's like 4 times my body weight nearly.
Quite a lot.
And I said, yeah, if I chest press, I can use the 14. I said, but when I do my shoulders, I use 4s. And she looked at me like going, I was like, yeah, because, I've got a weakness in my shoulder. I need to, work down to it. So it's all about technique, doing it correctly. It's not worrying the fact that I can shoulder press 12s and I'm just lifting a 4, And I've got all these guys around me seeing me lifting at the big weights, then seeing me lift. I'm doing what my body needs, what their body needs. And that's the thing. So whatever age you are, just start the steps steady, building a foundation, and then you can progress up. You can easily add more, increase weights, and things like that. If you go too hard too soon, that's when you risk the injuries.
Yeah, and I think what Hamza mentioned earlier on, I just want to, stop there and continue on that. She talked about, people, our viewership, and we have a lot of our viewers who are in their primes, past 30s, mid 30s, late 20s. And if they want to exercise, and let's say they want to, because I know that for me, weight training works wonders, and I love weight training. I think it's one of the, in fact, it's the only
Absolutely
way
the same.
and get lean. And it is a misconception that you get bigger. In fact, if you're doing the right weight training, you get leaner and you get more muscular. But if somebody in their 30s is wants to get into that, I mean, what would your suggestion be? They have to sort of seek out a professional coach, right? Like a trainer. They can't just get into the gym if they've never done it before, and just go off YouTube videos and all of that. The chances of injury there are more, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would, if you've never done it, you say you're 30, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you've never done anything before, get yourself with a professional somehow. So whether you're in a class or with a trainer, get yourself with somebody somehow, because even if you just had half a dozen sessions just to get you those foundations are what are going to give you the knowledge to sort of grow from. So even if you're doing that in a class or, like I say, a few sessions, because that's the fundamentals. Because if you're going wrong to start with, you then start increasing, and literally it's like the way you remember things, the way the body works is like an ant's trail. So if you, for example, the ants always go one way, so they always go this way, and then a leaf goes in the way, and they just go, God, and they scatter, and they all think eventually one, eventually another follows, and they start building a new track. And that's how our mind works. So we constantly will build this track. So when we start training, we're telling our bodies to do something different. If we keep doing it wrong, we build this wrong trail. And that's when the injuries, because that's you're on the path to an injury. So it might not be now, it be in 2 years' time. But if you get the foundations wrong, that's where you're going.
Yeah. And tell me, how important is it to have the right posture? Because I know that's where that's where a professional trainer comes in, because you can't just exercise when you have the wrong posture. Like a lot of people go off, there's so many YouTube channels and there's so many of these people, and I have seen my friends of mine who started working out at home and just working out from YouTube channels, and they've ended up hurting themselves, injuring their ankles, twisting their ankles, especially back injuries. It's because I feel that obviously if you're a beginner and you don't even know what your right posture is, you're definitely going to end up like, injured. So do talk about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, posture is centered to everything. It's literally that simple. You cannot walk unless you hold yourself up. So that's your posture. And in fact, up to about 80% of the population have a postural condition of some form. So there's obviously scoliosis, lordosis, kyphosis, flat back. So also, or sway back. So these are all sort of sites. So it could be just the rounding of the shoulders. It could be chin protrusion. It's where your center of balance is. And as soon as you work that sort of line, if you then build up, because you'll have strong muscles and weak muscles, this gets worse. And of course, being at desk, what do? You sit over, chin forward, shoulders round, or you're on your phone. So again, we're down the neck.
We're constantly on our phone, and we're like, it's like neck spondylosis. Like I read the other day, that's a very common condition that's coming up because everybody's hunching their necks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you need to work on your neck flexors and sort of do some exercises to sort of keep yourself upright. And of course, when you roll your shoulders, most people just go, yeah, shrug my shoulders. Roll them up, back, and let them go reset back into position.
So like, do before going, just tell us, give us a few like sit at home kind of exercises for a good posture. Like for the neck, for the shoulders, just leave us with a few good like posture exercises.
Okay, so if we start with the neck itself, so your gentle neck stretches, so like ear to shoulder. So literally just going straight down ear towards the shoulder, keeping your shoulders down because the habit will be to try and lift up.
Okay?
You then got your turn, so turning and looking over your shoulder. And again, it's just from your neck. You don't force it. And again, the other thing to be careful of is not to dip the forehead back and chin up to keep the head straight.
Yep.
Okay, so that's
good.
To work this one is sitting upright, so and then give yourself a double chin. Pull your chin in, tighten your muscle, and then release. Back to normal. Back to normal, and pull it. Give yourself that sexy double chin. It's absolutely beautiful. And
that's like go for a gap. Yeah, make that ear face.
But you can do that, and like I say, you can do for the stretches. You can just do them whole for a couple of seconds, and do them just 2-3 times, not much. For the shoulders, one is just shrugging them up.
Yeah.
And then just drop your shoulder. And then, like I said, then round, lifting up, back and round. So imagine your whole shoulder blade. So if I imagine someone's holding your shoulders and like physically moving them around and let them sort of, but don't force them back. It's just like move them where they want to be. Feels quite good, doesn't it?
Oh, there is a lot of wow, guys! This feels amazing. Like I feel like the knots just kind of unroll themselves. This is a really good one.
Yeah, and being in school, you sat at desk so much. That's the big one: is the shoulders and back. Lifting yourself up. And even, for example, just turning and holding onto the side of the seat to do the sort of core muscles. So turning your whole upper body, keeping the seat down, holding the side of the seat, looking over your shoulder, and then going the other way.
Okay. Oh, wow. I need to do more of these. and for the back, because you find like when you're sitting for a long time, you find that your upper back along with your shoulders gets stiff. So what to do for the back or the lower back as well? I get that a lot. Like my back aches. I find if I sit too much for too long. Well, something you could do at home.
Those spinal turns are good, or a forward fold. So you stand up, have a big reach up, and then sort of just fold at the hips and let the upper body hang towards the thing, towards the thighs. If you want to soften the knees, you can
step forward, like all the way down.
Yeah.
In front.
Yeah.
And then do we go all the way backward as well, or no?
What you would gently do is just gently roll up. So we want to release the lower back. So you would fold forward, sort of open the back up, and then you just gently roll up, stacking each vertebrae at a time. And you can do that.
Cool.
You can do that in the seat. So keep seated, legs out in front of you, and then just fold towards the toes and gently rolling back up. just sort of easing off that lower back.
Right.
That's I just wanted
These
to
are
add
these
that
are
Really nice.
these are really good
important.
exercises, and we give
And
it
it's
to
so important to maintain. I mean, for me, I think like having a good posture is so important because like if you're not in the right, and most of us, like you said, 80% of the population were unaware of our posture, like
Yeah.
whatever like deformity that we have, and
Yeah.
it's important to be aware of the right posture. And then when we're sitting on our desks, all of these, so these are really useful exercises that you've told us, and
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Liz. It was great speaking to you, having you here. In the end, one last question from me. Do tell us about the importance of nutrition. Like we've talked a lot about fitness and exercises and all of that. How, what role does nutrition play in your fitness and wellness?
Well, I mean, you probably see some of these like gimmicky photos saying 70% diets and 30% exercise. It kind of is because if you don't eat right, you don't have energy, you don't have the vitamins, you don't have the minerals. It's about your macronutrients as well as your micronutrients. It's the right balance. If your body is amazing, so if it has overload of certain things, if it's functioning properly, it will get rid of them. If it's you're under eating, you're not eating enough, it will just store things. This is where we gain weight and things like that. So yeah, your eating is crucial for your health. It's why you feel sluggish or energized. It's the difference between a good night's sleep and a bad night's sleep.
Right.
Nutrition to the extra cup of coffee. If you eat well and balanced, that extra cup of coffee isn't needed.
That was amazingly put. I mean, you put this so brilliantly.
So there's
and I'm
about fitness, wellness, all the diverse skills that she has, harnessed over her 10 years of her amazing, fabulous, career of being a wellness coach, a fitness coach, a business coach. We had a wonderful time chatting with Liz Jones, and for our viewers, if you want to connect with her, you can connect with her on LinkedIn. She's got some fabulous tips, advices over there, some good talks. I mean, she's got like massive following. She's made a big impact, and we were so excited and we're truly grateful to have you. And yes, thank you for
Amazing to
sharing
have
all.
you here with us.
And we'll share her LinkedIn profile link in the comments, and so you can get in touch with her. So with that, have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Thank you so
Great
much,
week.
Liz, for joining us.